Greetings, YouTube. Happy Thursday. One of the videos I have been anxiously preparing for is the announcement of the next 5-star featured pool. It is customary with all previous 5-star featured pool announcements that we get the list about a week ahead of time. It builds up hype. It gives people even more of an incentive to hoard shards like the ones they're getting now from the newly improved bounty missions, which I'll do a separate video on at some point, probably today. But so far, I'm very encouraged. I love to give Kabam where credit is due, and I think the bounty missions are head and shoulders better, especially when you compare them to the atrocity known as Merc missions beforehand. So, that aside, it is less than a week, in fact, only a few days until the current 5-star featured crystal is set to expire, and that has led to much speculation, including multiple pages of a forum post, which you will see in just a moment, of what's going on. Why have we not got that list ready to go? And I wasn't sure if there was even going to be an explanation on this, but the explanation on this turns out to be really, really, really bizarre. And that might just be in some form the title of this video, because normally you release a list to get people hyped up about the next crystal. If they want to open a basic 5-star crystal, they're going to spend their 10,000 5-star shards. So it's not like there's a lot of controversy involved in releasing a list early. It's not giving anyone an unfair advantage. I think it's just doing the game a favor from a public relations standpoint, which they desperately need, of getting people excited to open those crystals. And of course, the more excited you get people to open the new crystal, the more they're not only going to keep playing the game and maybe grinding in the arena, say the 5-star featured arena, to get more 5-star shards, but they're just going to enjoy your product more because of the hope of the random number generator giving them the champion they're after, or one of the champions that they're after. So it is with that huge disclaimer in mind that I have no idea why Kabam Mike has given us this description in this forum post. It literally makes no sense to me. And from a marketing standpoint, and I did take one marketing class while I was pursuing my master's degree years ago, it goes against everything I read, or at least skimmed over, in my graduate textbook. And so let's talk about the discrepancy between Kabam Mike's statement and kind of the reality of the game. So, Kabam Mike said, "You're still welcome to spend your crystal shards however you would like. We're just not going to be putting out the list of champions you can get in advance anymore. This is common in many games, but we want to encourage people to take a chance on what is available now, or decide if they want to wait for something else." Okay, if that were true, that would actually give you more incentive to put out the list so you can compare the future to the present. For all we know, maybe people will decide to hoard more, and then we'll make the choice to reverse this decision, but we won't know until we try. One thing that somebody brought up here that I am going to take back to the game team is that some things have changed lately, and that's the importance of certain champions to counter certain challenges, or as keys to certain content like back issues number 1. So the comment that would say, I think we have that data before the featured 5-star came out. Everyone was still hoarding for the next attempt at the feature they wanted. You have the data for all this already. Exactly. So this description literally makes zero sense, because you need all the data you can to prepare not only for what content you're going to jump into, like for instance back issues number 1, as we wait for back issues number 2 to come around soon, but also you know the next 6 featured champions on the list. You just look at the current featured and you look at the next 6 after the featured was released, and that's the 6. So really, when we're talking about the hype of the new featured, it has nothing to do with the featured 5-star champions. Those are predictable and have been predictable for months. It's the other 18 champions in the crystal. I, for one, am currently hunting Omega Red. If Omega Red is included in this new 5-star featured crystal, that's going to give me incentive to go for the first 5-star featured crystal I have in months. But the other thing I want to point out is that because Act 6 no longer lets you bring 4 stars into the content, you suddenly need the 5-star equivalents of the 4 stars you were using. This is especially true for synergy teams when it comes to people like Heimdall or even Ghost Rider. The list goes on and on. So if you are, say, waiting to clear more of Act 6 or even become Cavalier, and you have waited to do that because you're hoping for a better chance to pull the 5-star equivalent of the 4-star you used to clear Act 5, you want this data as early as possible to start planning out how you use your energy and certainly the time it takes to clear content for you in the game daily. So, Kabam Mike, bro, this is terrible marketing. It's just, quite frankly, stupid. And it is the case study of somebody that doesn't understand why the community is asking for something. It only does the community justice, and it actually only does your company justice to get the information out as quickly as possible. It hypes up the new crystal. It gives people a chance to get excited and to start hoarding shards more, which is a plus for everybody. And most importantly, it gives people an enjoyment of the game when maybe after going through the insectification, I don't know if that's a word, but I'm saying it, #insectification, of all of the bugs that are going on right now, you need people to have a reason to get excited about the future of the game. And so it might sound small, but the 5-star featured crystal and the list is a way to do that. It makes zero sense. It is of zero advantage to you as a company to disclose that information until the absolute last second that the crystal is released. So I think you should strongly consider it. It's quite frankly insanely bizarre and makes no sense. And yet I feel like on Kabam's tombstone someday, it's going to say things like insanely bizarre, made no sense. Thanks for watching, YouTube.